Greetings from Cybertron. This is SoundJack here with a review of the Transformers, Titans Return, Leader Class, Soundblaster, and Soundwave. So before really getting into this review, I want to briefly mention about something I mentioned in the Blaster review, that I was going to get all 5 of the Titans Return Leader Class figures that I own done this week. That's not happening at all, as evidenced by this coming out on Friday. Things happened this week. I just got busy. So we're going to have these 2 this week, and we're going to save the 3 Phase 6er Leader Class figures for next week, but they will be coming out next week. I just got to figure out what days. But anyway, on to Soundwave himself. You should know who Soundwave is. You follow my channel. You know Soundwave. Well, at least the Cybertron Soundwave. But this is a Titans Return version, Leader Class sized, of a Generation 1 Soundwave that turns into a stereo. Holy crap. I never thought I'd see that in a modern toy line again. That is very surprising, I will say. He looks very different, I will say, from his original body, but that's because he is based on the Blaster mold, who is a very different body design from the original Soundwave toy. So there are a lot more differences on Soundwave than there were with Blaster getting in for this toy. But they have a lot of shared engineering and shared features. But before we get into Soundwave himself, let's get into his Titan Master partner, Soundblaster, who his name comes from the rebuilt body of Soundwave from the Japanese Headmasters cartoon, like how Blaster got rebirthed into Twin Cast. And speaking of, where, hold on. I lost them for a moment, but here's Twin Cast. And you can see that they are fairly similar. They got the same arms and legs going on their bodies, but the chests are different, as the chest is much more molded to be Soundwave's chest, and they have different heads, as the head is molded to be much more Soundwavy. Though it's still weird that they have the same legs. That's really weird, because that's definitely a Blaster specific design that does not appear on Soundwave. But you know what, they put a little bit of paint on here, so yeah. Again, gray for the legs, a little bit of silver for the front of the speaker half of the legs, blue for the entire upper body, and a little bit of silver going on for the faceplate. And yeah, that's all there is to say. Main other difference is they have different faces on the back. Very different interpretations of how to get the half face, since the heads are not going to be large enough on their own to completely make up the Leader Class head. So there's going to be a little buffing, but we got Soundwave here. He's got most of his face and a little bit of exposed brain going on there. For his face, we'll show that off more in a little bit, but let's get into the articulation for Soundblaster, whose head can rotate a full 360 degrees. His head is able to nod back and forth and rock side to side. The arms are able to bend that far forward, only that far back because of the face, and the arms are able to bend that far out from the side of the body. The legs are able to bend that far forward and that far back, and the knees are able to bend that far back and that far forward. And to transform him, you just collapse him in half, and there you have him in the completed head mode. And again, it looks a little weird with the exposed brain and just the visor and the mouthplate and not the rest of the helmet. But we will show that off once we get into once we get the whole Soundwave into robot mode. But that is all for Soundblaster by himself. So let's take a closer look at Soundwave in his alt mode. It still looks very good. Again, not accurate to G1, because the chest would be bigger, the legs would be differently shaped and not as wide out to the side. But you know what? It's still good. It's still nice. Also, he wouldn't have had the handle. He would not have had the handle at all. But still very nice. Bit of retooling down here to give him some silver crotch bits. His silver play buttons on his crotch. A little bit of silver details there. He's got a nice transparent front window, a little bit of gold paint going around the edges there and the bottom there. Nice Decepticon symbol, and a lot of clear detailing, molded detailing in that clear plastic there. You got some silver speakers on the side, kind of making like a Bose or one of those kinds of fancier speakers. And oh my god, this feels so good. I don't know why. It's just whatever they did to make, whatever molding they did to make this, it just feels so nice. It feels like one of those speakers. It feels like one of those speakers with the little tiny holes. It's so nice. Anyway, stopping with that. Rest of them is pretty simple. A lot of blue, a lot of just nice detailing. Again, then you got to start seeing Soundwave's arms, will be his robot mode art sticking out there. You got bits sticking out on the sides here for the alternate forms. You got Soundwave's actual robot legs sticking out the bottom there. You just got panels and holes on the back. A little bit of a butt going out, but that's to fit the cassette. We'll get to that in a moment. And what was the other camera? Oh yeah, you still got the gaps going on to make a more better humanoid profile, but there's nothing to cover that up. So there's a little bit of gappage going on there, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then he's got the candle, which is just solid gray. And that's pretty much it for Soundwave himself. You can't do any movement. He's a boombox. He's just going to sit there. So let's get on to his accessories. He comes up with a remote that has a little play button right there that basically functions as the pretend remote that fits into Soundwave's chest, so you can engage a cassette-like gimmick from his original toy. Just close that up and press the button to pull it out. It does not, a thing to mention about that, it does not fold out because it relies on gravity if you have it tilted too far back. So you gotta have that folded down. Funnily enough, the colors are kind of reminiscent of Buzzsaw with the gray and the yellow, who was Soundwave's actual partner when he was released in 1984 in the first place. There's a couple of gaps. One of the gaps makes this a Titan Master compatible seating for his Titan Master partner, and the other gap allows his Titan Master partner to fit inside, so as that while he's in his alternate form, you can stow that in there, and there is full storage for Soundwave and his Titan Master partner, which is a very nice touch. And just pulling him out of there, there's nothing else to do with that, except to note that there are two Titan Master posts on there that allow Titan Masters to stand on there, only one per side though. And there's also a 5mm post to store weapons, to give this be this as a Titan Master vehicle. And here is another accessory of Soundwave's gun. It's not accurate to Soundwave's actual gun because this is just a straight up repaint of Blaster's gun, which I have right here, as you can see, straight up repaint, just in blue. And while I'm thinking about it, quick comparison between the two remotes, between Soundwave and Blaster. And other thing, he does come with an extra accessory that Blaster did not. He comes with Soundwave's his own trademarked shoulder cannon. And that's very nice. There's a lot of scratches on here, and I don't know where those came from. I really don't. I pulled this toy off my shelf today, and there's these scratches, and I don't know where they came from. I don't think they originated on the toy. I must have done something. Maybe it got damaged during transport or something. I'm not sure. But it's very nice. Got the very nice molded detail on the front, a nice molded stripe there, a little bit of an elevated square right there, and nice red stripes going around it. And this will nominally plug. Well, actually, you can't do that in this form, unfortunately. But you can store it on the back using that plug right there. Store this on the back using that plug right there. And a quick note, that same port that stores this cannon exists on Blaster as well. And yeah, so you get to store everything on Soundwave, which is very nice. But that is all there is to say about Soundwave in this form. So now let's get on to some size comparisons. So here he is with Legends Class Bumblebee, and you can see how he looks next to him. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome, you can see how he looks next to that. Voyager Class Megatron, and you can see how that scales. And Leader Class 6-shot, got to move everything back a little bit, and you can see how that scales. And as a bonus, here he is next to Blaster, just to see the differences between the two of them. Again, most of the molded detail you can tell right now is the different chest, the different speakers, and the different crotches. And that's pretty much it. Everything else pretty much looks to be the same. Well, actually, it would be that side. Yeah. There you go. And then you got some different legs going on there. But we'll see that more in the robot modes. But before we get to the robot modes, we do have a bass mode to get to, so let's roll right along to that transformation. So we'll move Soundwave off to the side. Sound Blaster off to the side, sorry. So what we're going to do is we're going to come here. I'm going to pull these out. There's a tab right there that goes into a slot right there. A tab right there that goes into a slot right there. We're going to fold this down. And we are going to come over here. Rotate this arm around. Fold that up. And rotate the arm back. Flip the cannon out. And we're going to come over here. Straighten that bit out. And then come over here. Flip that section up. So he's got some little speakers going on. And we can fold that ramp out as well. Then we're going to come over here, do the same, fold that out, rotate the arm 360, fold it up, fold that back, flip down the cannons, fold this section out, flip up some speakers, flip that panel out, then we're going to come here, collapse the chest out, flip this panel up, and that's all. Yeah, we're just gonna flip that panel up, and yeah, so there is, oops, one thing I forgot. We're gonna take this, we're gonna take these two tabs and fit them into the slots on the handle right there. And there we have Soundwave in his bass mode. And he's pretty much the same as Blaster, just with different colors. He's got the same cannons going on the upper side. He's got the same remote becoming these triple cannons. You got the same monitors on the side as Blaster. You got some different paint applications down here, but there's all the Time Master ports there, and there. You got the ramps going on, and that are able to attach to other Time Master bases. Leader class sized or Titan Master class sized. And then the triple cannon, the double cannon. Whoops, sorry, triple cannon, double cannon. You got the Time Master ports up here that allow Time Masters to stand up there. You got Time Master ports there and there, which I think I forgot to mention in Blaster's review. There are Titan Master ports on the sections that allow a Titan Master to stand, or I thought so. That one's tight. Yeah, that's tight, but it works. You can get them to stand on there, and like you can get them to, I don't know, take a look at the monitors. How they climb up there, I don't know. But granted, they're also able to climb up there, so I don't know how they get up there either. And the main thing is you can also take his blaster-based weapon, stick that in there, and then just kind of sit your Time Master down in here, and kind of have him pilot. It's not as good as the Blaster one, and I thought it still did a thing where you can move it up, but it does not seem to do so. So it doesn't work quite like Blaster does. So he's kind of got to have him standing a bit to get him to engage with his cannon over here. But there is the Time Master port right there. So you can plug him in there and then just have the cannon go sideways or something. Or you can plug it in elsewhere because there are a lot of different ports you plug it onto. You got 5mm ports here and on the opposite side, and you also got 5mm ports up here as well. But I think it looked a little cooler with the Time Master being able to like actually sit down and use the monitor screen and do that, unless I'm doing something wrong and not able and being a dummy and can't get it up. But I don't think I'm being wrong. But it has been a while since I've touched this toy, but it's not moving. It's just not moving. So if I'm wrong, please let me know in the comments, but I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think I'm wrong in this instance. And again, and there's also this 5mm Time Master port right there, but that's really for the robot mode. Overall, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Time Master ports all over 16 Time Master ports all over Soundwave that Sound Blaster or any other Time Master can plug into. And just a quick look at the back. You can see what the back looks like, and the underside looks just like that. Yeah, and again, you can still sit Soundblaster in that seat up there as well if you want him monitoring or anything of that nature. But that is all there's to say with this base mode. So now let's get into size comparisons for that. Here it is with Legends Class Bumblebee. See how that scales. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome. You can see how that scales. Voyager Class Megatron. You can see how that scales. Leader Class 6-shot, if I can get everything on screen at once. See how that scales. And we won't be comparing with Blaster because that's not really going to fit on the screen all that well, unfortunately. But that is all there is to say on Soundwave's base mode. So now let's roll right along to his robot mode. So we'll move Soundblaster off to the side, get him into his head mode. We'll take the cannon off. We'll take that section off. And now we can actually get into the transforming. So we'll close up the chest door. We'll fold these cannons up, the strain and the arms up. We'll leave them like that for now. We're going to come over here. I'm going to flip the foot out, flip that panel down. And then we are going to come, I'm going to untab this section and retab it up here, just folding it up on that double hinge. And then we're going to leave the foot like that, close that hit ramp up, fold it on this hinge, fold that panel in half on that hinge, and then these tabs right here and here will go into those slots right there and there. So that will happen. Then you just straighten the leg out, rotate it around forward, and there you got one leg done. And we'll repeat that on the other side. Swing that around, tab it into place, fold that down, flip the toe down, flip that in, flip that panel in, that ramp in, fold that down, and if it tabs into place. Come on. Right. Oh, I didn't fold that down correctly on the double hinge right there. So now it will comfortably fold in like that and fold in like that. Now we're going to come around, swing that around, rotate it down, rotate it around the other way, and then we got both the legs done. I'm going to come just raise the camera up in preparation for his height difference. I need to set the camera a little bit more. Yeah, that should be fine. So, final things to do. We are going to swing the arms down, fold the fists out, swing the arms down, fold the fists out, flip the handle down, come over here, stick Soundblaster in there, and then we're going to come back here, open this hatch, flip the helmet out, and fold it on top of Soundwave's head. And then just to complete the G1 aesthetic, we're going to take the cannon, plug it in, and there you have Soundwave in his robot mode. And he's a big, bulky boy. A little bigger, a little bulkier than I think he should be. But, you know, it's still a very nice looking Soundwave toy. Taking a closer look at the head. The head's a little weird. I gotta readjust everything here. It's a little weird. I don't think the helmet folds down as smoothly or fleshly as it could. It just doesn't, you just get that just little bit of the brain stuff poking out. I'd rather go over the eyes a little bit more. That stayed like that, it'd be fine, but it just doesn't sit down perfectly correctly, so that just bothers me a little bit. And you can tell it's coming off. Most other times, the helmets don't seem like they're gonna fall off, even though we know that they do actually. Though we didn't necessarily know that at the time. But his yellow visor is still nice, his silver faceplate is nice, and the silver things on the side of his head are still nice, as well as the nice Decepticon crest's head going on there. His cannon. I already talked about the cannon, so we don't need to go over that. We already talked about that chest going on there. We kind of talked about how he's got a little bit of side hip design going on here, waist going on here, but that left gaps in the vehicle mode, but that looked vehicle mode, alternate mode, but that works out better here. We already talked about those buttons. The arms, the shoulders are very blue. You got a bit of red and silver paint going on those shoulders as well. Come down to the arms, they're a bit of a gray color, and with a nice red stripe going around the arm, and then the fists are completely blue. The legs, while the hip joints themselves are in the same gray plastic as the arms, the lower legs, the upper parts the upper legs right here are in fact in silver, and that is very shiny and very nice. Little distracting that you can still see a little bit of the gray hip coming from underneath the skirt panels, but you know, that's nice that they attempted. That's very nice they attempted. Coming down to the legs, they're very big and very boxy and very blue. You got a bit of yellow paint there, a lot of silver paint right there, and then the feet are a dark gray kind of color, and then you got the rest of the speaker stuff going on, and that still feels good. I don't know why I like that so much, but I do in fact like it. For articulation, his head can rotate a full 360 degrees. Let's see if I can do that with the speaker in the way. You can actually do that. I'm not the speaker, the blaster shoulder cannon in the way. You can still do a full 360 degrees. If you take the helmet off, it's not going to be able to rotate because the back Time Master actually kind of pegs into the back there, but you can lift it out and you can still get a full 360 degrees and a little bit of back and forth and a little bit of side to side. You get absolutely no side to side. Well, not a whole lot. Not really any side to side with the helmet on. I can get it to wiggle, but I feel like it's not supposed to do that, and it's probably going to break the toy. You get shoulder rotation here, 360 degrees of rotation. The arm is able to bend out that far. There is a bicep swivel for 360 degrees of rotation, 90 degrees of bend at the elbow, and the only wrist articulation is how it folds in for transformation. Legs, the skirt panel is able to fold forward to allow the legs to bend that far forward, and then the legs are also able to bend that far back, and then they're also able to bend that far out to the side. You can also rotate the legs a full 360 degrees at the thigh. The knees are able to bend a 90 degrees, and the feet have a toe, so that just folds down, not up at all. There's also a very nice tilt. He's got a very long range of tilt, but I don't think you need much more than 45 degrees, which this red bit covers up pretty nicely. Makes it a little more obvious it's in red. I wish it was more like a blue or the silver color, but you know, it still covers up the gap so it doesn't look like his feet have broken off from his legs. Yeah, and that's all for the articulation. The accessories, he's still able to store that, as well as other cassettes. I did fail to mention, there are Soundwave cassette partners that are sold as Legends in the toy line, and he can fit those in his chest. I didn't get any that are from Kindness Return because I don't think they look that good, and they didn't complete the set, so I didn't care enough to get them. They only had Laserbeak, Ravage, and Rumble, which was in red, not blue. And then they had Buzzsaw and Combiner Wars. I do have the Buzzsaw right here. I was going to use him, but I forgot to use him. But I don't have any of the others because they did not make Frenzy. I had a hard time remembering which one it was because they named the wrong ones the wrong colors. But anyway, you can still plug in his blaster's weapon basically into his 5mm hands, and you're still able to store that upon the back if you do not want him to have it in his robot, holding it in robot mode. But yeah, he's pretty nice. He is pretty nice. I'm just gonna remove that for now, and we're gonna get into some robot mode size comparisons. Here is Legends Class Bumblebee, and you can see he comes up to about Soundwave's knee. Deluxe Class Chrome Dome comes up to just a little bit above the bottom of those skirt panels right there. Voyager Class Megatron, who just about comes up to the bottom of the Decepticon symbol. Not really, more like the right up to that little bit of gold on that chest right there. Leader Class 6-Shot, who Soundwave is a bit taller than at the head. Though 6-Shot's got the wings to make himself taller. Quick comparison with his Moldmate Blaster, so you can see their differences in robot mode. Mostly the chest, crotch, and legs. Arms are pretty much the same. Also, the helmets are different. There's definitely enough to make them different from each other, though they were originally a lot more different in terms of design. And of course, here they are next to the channel's mascots, Soundwave and Wheeljack. Why did I say they? It's only one person right now. And yeah. yeah, you can see how he looks next to them. Let's get Wheeljack out of his shadow a little bit more so you can see that. Keep your sword up, Wheeljack. And there, yeah. So, overall, Titans Return Leader Class Soundwave is a nice figure. Not the greatest Soundwave, I do unfortunately have to say. Preferably, to me, he'd be a Voyager class figure to go along with my Voyager class Megatron. Preferably, he would have cassettes that are, or cassette, or some form of media storage partners that are better than Titans Return ones. Most notably of the Ravage mold being better, and also him having his complete camaraderie of, at the very least, Rumble, Frenzy, the blue one, just the blue one, and even Rat Bat would have been nice as well. Again, he is very much all right. I would prefer something different for my classic shelf, for my Generations shelf, basically. But he is still a very nice toy. I do think he is a reasonable pickup if you are fine with his cassette partners. He works best, I think, with his cassette partners. If he had all of his cassette partners, I would love him a lot more. Unfortunately, he does not, so I cannot love him as much as he does. And again, he's a little bigger than I'd expect, and a little more blastery than Soundwavy, especially in his alt mode. But what are you going to do? I still think he's a very reasonable representation. But that is all I have to say about Soundwave. So thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, please like and share this video and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram at SoundJack426. Also, please consider donating on my Patreon page to help support the channel. All of the links will be in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. This is SoundJack's signing off.